Friends, listen, in my last video, you saw me shop creme de la creme, boutique-y, amazing, but your girl is equal opportunity. And so I'm at Costco because you know what they've just gotten in? All of the bulbs, the tubers, they've got plants. They've got very exciting things. However, I've gone over this in depth before, multiple times, but I want to give you like 3 cardinal rules that I always follow when I'm shopping at Costco for my goodies. My first rule of Costco is shop first or do not shop at all. And I want to break that down. Number 1, Costco is not a nursery. So therefore, they do not have a watering system in place. They do not have greenhouse temperatures. And check this out. We have the saddest little chicken I've ever seen. I mean, this is the ultimate limp biscuit right here. And if Costco is asking for us to pay $17.99, we're going to walk away from this because I am not going to waste my money trying to revive someone. And the reason we ended up in this situation is Costco is simply not a nursery. Friends, rule number 2 is when you are shopping at Costco for your plants, if it is leafing out, you let it go. You literally let it go. You walk away. You do not proceed forward. And here is why. We are having massive temperature swings between the inside of Costco and the outside of Costco. And especially when you are buying dormant items. So dormant fruit trees, dormant blueberries, dormant roses. If they start pushing in these indoor temperatures and then you take them outside, they're going to crash and burn at your house. Okay, so I'm going to show you one example of what we do not want to see. This is what I refer to as this is pushing, okay? We are pushing out buds. It's waking up, but I do not want this to wake up. When we buy something that is bare root, I say this is when we are literally transferring a sleeping baby. We want to get this guy into the ground before it wakes up, right? This is like your toddler has been asleep in the car and wakes up and then you try to put him down. It's not happening. Okay, I want to show you an example of what you do want to look for. Okay, so right here we have a semi-dwarf Bartlett pear. It is so adorable. And I want to bring you in close because this is what we're talking about right here. These buds are not pushed at all. So right here, you have barely any development. This is what we want. Now, if we go over to the main stem over here, see that? Now we're starting to push quite a bit. Okay, I would still purchase this one if I knew that I could get it in the ground right away. But this is one of those items that you got to know where it's going. This is not going to hang out in a little plastic baggie for days on end. It needs to be purchased in early stages where it's not pushing buds and get it in the ground. In terms of fruit trees, I'm actually going to pass on all of these gorgeous varieties for a couple different reasons. Number 1, I actually don't know how long these have been in here. Most of them are still pretty dormant, but there are some pushing. And also number 2, I want to shop someplace like Christensen's. I don't know if you saw that video. That was a great one. I want to shop someplace like that actually is curating a selection from a stone's throw from where I live. So I'm going to pass here. I'm going to hop over to my local nursery. I want to take a brief intermission in my 3 rules for shopping at Costco for these gorgeous containers. These are not only a beautiful price point, but they are actually very well made. These are frost-proof, weather-resistant containers. These are made in Vietnam. The Vietnamese pottery is some of my favorites, and it is an exceptional price. What are we at? $49.99? Oh, $46.99. Hello. And it's also, here's the other thing, it's actually a really decent size. And this is one of those situations where I could see you doing like flanking a doorway, anything like that. And they always come out with just one, and it's exceptionally priced. And I kind of love that. And usually it's in this like turquoisey color. So anyways, I've purchased these before on many occasions. They do really well. I have them at my old house and they totally stood up to our maritime climate. However, I will tell you one thing I will not be purchasing: this cute little trolley that is underneath it. I have very strong feelings about these little plant stands on casters. I will, in my Amazon shop, I will link the ones that I love that I use. Are they this cute? No. But this thing, I have no guarantees that it will stand up to my weather. These things, the second I see them, I'm like, oh yeah, that's going to break after like a year or two. And I don't want to waste my money on it. I mean, look at this. This right here will show you what you are in for. And I don't know. I don't think this is going to hold up to a pot filled with soil, filled with plants, and heavily watered. Rule number 3. We are digging for treasures. Okay. I'm sure I am not the only one out there who has been at Costco in this lovely Longfield Garden display, and you are like elbows deep at bare minimum in these rows, because I will tell you, there is no rhyme or reason to how these things are stacked and organized, and I always dig for treasures. In fact, I was over here. I already found 2 treasures. Look at this. An 8-pack of Dahlia, Cornell, and Sylvia. Both are ones that I love. I have grown Cornell. In fact, it is just a heavy hitter for me. $13.99. I actually think, aren't these like $2 less than last year? I think they're less. Okay, I'll have to go back to that video, but $13.99, that is a fantastic price. I will tell you though, if you are a serious Dahlia hound, what I might do is I might actually wake these up in pots, and we can go over that in a future video. Actually, Robbie from Visit Our Garden, he just did a little process like this, but essentially you want to wake them up outside of your garden bed, and then once they've woken up, you're checking them to make sure that they don't have any disease, throw them down in there. But I single-handedly have purchased probably 30 or more dahlias from Costco, and they have all been beautifully successful. So now that you know my 3 rules, I'm going to take you through and I'm going to be telling you what I'm purchasing and what I am given the big old pass. Here's the deal. Sometimes it is easier to bring out a tray of these, and I am not advocating for anyone making a mess for anyone in customer service, because if you grew up working a customer service job, you just know. So what I usually like to do is I like to bring out a whole tray. I like to keep it real neat and tidy, but here's what I will say. This entire thing is lilies, which, by the way, these are beautiful. Let's see here, Royal Sunset and Indian Somerset. This is actually a really pretty combination, but behind them are dahlias. And so if you are digging for dahlias, you may want to peek a little bit deeper to see what has been picked over, what still remains, all that good stuff. Oh, and see, here's the other thing. Because we're shopping early, these aren't as destroyed as if they had been here for like 2 weeks. Then it's just hot mess express. This is also another one that's been on my list. I don't know what happened to my lilac bull, but this was one of my favorite dahlias. It is a very strong producer. Edinburgh is also a really good one, and I don't know what happened to that one. Yes, I did take my microphone off because I didn't want to be like a creeper back here. But I'm still a creeper back here. I am in the blocked off section. Okay, I'm trying to get this lily that has like beautiful polka dots all over it. It is so gorgeous. Okay, hang tight. I went digging in the depths, and I want to show you the treasures that I found specifically. Okay, first of all, a Casablanca lily. I have a girlfriend who has a white garden, and these are so fabulous. I love a Casablanca lily. They are very expensive when you buy them already kind of like sprouted in a pot. 16 of them. Screaming deal. Okay, next thing. This lily. Okay, this is the Flora Plano. And what I love about this is look at the shape of the petals. I love an interesting touch in a garden. This is a good purchase. If I'm going to do a lily, I want like a statuesque Casablanca. I want this Flora Plano with like a really cool petal structure, or Martagon lilies. I love a Martagon. Okay, last fun thing that I found. Look at these dreamy, dreamy, dreamy colors. Really interesting petal edge. This is going to be something that you don't find on the day-to-day here. I don't see a lot of these intricate petals, so this was another really, really good find. The last 2 things I would grab from this section are side-by-side I love an elephant ear. This makes a phenomenal centerpiece in a shade garden. I mean, it is just so statuesque. It is just like, it adds volume that is really hard to get with anything else. So love an elephant ear. This is the other one, this Cana. This is a very, very dreamy light orange, this Wyoming. They have a bunch of different ones here. And so if a Cana lily is your jam, this isn't bad. In terms of everything else here, I'm kind of at the stage of the game where I'm really particular in what I'm bringing into my garden and what I'm curating. I'm really not going to go for a begonia, although I'm sure these are gorgeous. I'm sure they're lovely. You know, I am not a crocosmia girl. And also, if you plant crocosmia once, you probably have enough to share for the entire neighborhood. And then in terms of callas, I just don't have a place for them in my garden. So I'm going to pass on most of the rest of these. If I did do a calla though, this is my jam. So the white bag section is more like tubers, corms, that kind of business. Over here in Purple Land, these are bare roots. Essentially, you're buying a root structure. Now, I've said it in my previous videos, hostas for me have always performed really well, taken from these Longfield selections. There are things here that I've never tried. Like for example, phlox. This is like planting bunny candy. So I'm never really gonna go for a phlox, but I'm curious, if you have grown this, I'm very curious to see how it went for you. The other thing I'm actually really curious about is this guy here. I love a Siberian iris, and this one in particular with the kind of center of that petal, that yellow, this one is very interesting to me. But again, I haven't tried these ones, so I can't speak for them. The thing I'm gonna pass on all day, every day is down here. Okay, these are peonies. And peonies you actually wanna buy the biggest rootstock you can. These ones aren't gonna have as many eyes. They are gonna probably be successful if you put them in the garden, but they just aren't gonna be mature. They aren't gonna bloom as profusely. So this is a pass for me. The only other thing that I might get here is this Kaya geranium, just because I think the dark leaf is really interesting. And this is typically one that I don't get my hands on too frequently. But there's nothing here that I'm like jonesing for. You know what I mean? I feel pretty solid at what I have already in my collection. I haven't been blown away by anything that's particularly spectacular. Okay, roses. I am kind of a rose junkie. I'm really particular about my color palette, and I have a hard time buying a rose in a box. And here's why. Number one, I have the vendors I love. I love David Austin. I love heirloom roses. And also, I know when I'm buying a plant from those two companies, I know I'm gonna pay like twice the price, maybe 3 or 4 times the price, but it's been tested for any sort of disease. And I know I'm not bringing something like that into my garden. The other thing, because these are bundled so tightly, I'm having a hard time actually deciphering what this looks like. And when I choose a rose, I am really particular about my shape. I want an open center. I want it to be shaped like a V. It's just really important because that is going to get your rose off to the best start possible. It is really hard to recover from terrible rose pruning at its base or at its graft point. So for me, I pass on roses. Also, I want my green, my canes to be a little bit more vibrant than I'm seeing here. And also, some of them look like they've kind of been through the ringer. There's a lot of scarring on them. I just kind of feel like it isn't the move for me. All right, let's move on. I wasn't going to talk about this, but in the filming of this video, I have knocked these caps off no less than like 10 times. So we're just gonna talk about it. The elephant in the room that keeps trying to grab my attention. Raised cedar planter. Now, I can see a use for something like this if you live in an apartment. All you've got is a balcony. Hey, if that is literally all your space, do you, get after it. But here's my chief complaints. This is pretty thin cedar, and the bottom is actually just this self-watering system. And also, I don't think this is deep enough if I'm gonna grow a root vegetable. So this is actually gonna be a pass. Also, it's $150. This is probably gonna be a pass for me. What I would do instead is, if all I had was a balcony, I would go really cute. Instead, I would head down there. I would grab 3 of those ceramic ones. I would dedicate one to herbs, one to a tomato, maybe one to like beans or peas or something fun like that. Or even doing like a bunch of like salad greens. So for me, I think the cedar is on the thin side. I'm curious if you've test driven this thing. How long did it actually last in your garden? We get a lot of rain in Seattle, so I don't know that this is a wise investment if you live in our region. Also, these caps are ridiculous. I mean, I get it. They want it to look cute. It like slides together. But just know if you buy this, you're gonna knock these things off about 200 times unless you glue them. Friends, I may go get a hot dog. Unsure. We don't know what we're gonna get into next, but I wanna show you the goodies. Okay, here's what I've decided to get. First of all, this gorgeous 2-pack. I'm loving the petal edge. This actually was a reminder from Anne at Dahlia House. I want more beautiful petal edges, and this is something I don't have in my Dahlia collection. So I'm gonna get this, and I'm probably gonna share some of the tours. I'm also getting Casablanca lilies for a girlfriend of mine because she loves them, and they're just the best. I'm also getting these Flora Plano. Love these. Not sure where they're going, but they're gonna go somewhere. And then I am replacing my lilac bowl and my Edinburgh that just didn't perform last year. So I'm re-upping. And last but not least, one of my favorites of all time, Cornell Bronze and this adorable little Sylvia, because these ball type dahlias, they are my absolute favorite. Okay, I'm gonna see you in the next one. Go hit up your Costco. Keep an eye this time of year because you wanna get right in there as soon as they drop. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. In the meantime, say hello to your garden for me.